Hello soul friends, this is Miriam and welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading, and don't worry, I will put cards out here, I'm just going to live shuffle today, is all about can you trust them? Can you trust them? This can be romantic, platonic, okay, familial or friendly, professional or personal, and everything in between. So I anticipate this is going to be a mazy reading. I promise you that I'm going to say the wrong pile is the wrong number. So just trust the timestamps. I need to learn how to put words on the screen so that I can correct myself when I say stupid crud. But then I would actually have to go back and watch my videos, which I don't do all that much. I spent so long impromptu talking when I was teaching that, you know, you just get used to whatever happens, and if you mess up, you mess up. Oi. Okay. So these are going to be your stones for each of your piles. Can you trust this person? Okay. We are going to use, oh my, which decks would we like to use today? Let's go ahead and get this one out. So we'll be using this for your tarot. Here's information on where to find these guys. They're on Etsy. And the rest of the decks here, I believe, are mass-produced, or at least the ones that we're going to use today are. So remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or just simply your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. And no matter how you look at that, you are in the right place. Let's go ahead and use, we're going to use lots of oracles today. So we're going to use this one, but we're just going to use the one tarot deck. We're going to use this one. We're going to use this one, of course. I have one of these cards tattooed on me. I love this deck so much. And let's throw in some Urban Crow Oracle as well. Okay, so if you want to fast forward through the shuffling section, please feel free to do so, because I'm going to start now. Okay. I would talk to you guys while I'm doing this, but I can't think of anything to say. All right, those all stuck to the bottom. We're going to give these ones to group one, but we'll shuffle the rest and get more of those later. Okay. Getting 4 oracle cards a piece for you. So this is going to be a mazy reader. Amazing, but a mazy reading. I can already feel that in my soul. No, I want... Oof! I want this one. Oh, there's a client. Be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Had a customer calling. Okay, and let's get some of these. Some of these bad boys. Oh, yes. Hi, kitty. You can come say hi. Sorry, I'm talking to my cat. Man, I hope you're talking to your cat because you sound wackadoo. I am. Come on. You got it. She's scared of my microphone stand that I use to hold this camera. Okay, let's get these all cleaned up and in pretty position. And then we'll get you going with your readings. I'll also put the stones on your cards as well so that you guys can see those. I actually don't know if that's something people like. Tell me in the comments how you like me to do things. Holy gosh. My cat just like totally body slammed me. She gets like nervous and she hates it when my attention's not on her. And so right now my attention is definitely not on her and she's definitely punishing me for it. And I don't care for it, Miss Kitty. Okay. All right, skis. Let's get these all lined up. And we will put your crystals and rocks on there. And we'll move forward from there. It's like the longest intro ever. Now I know why people don't do shuffling. Group 1, you are a Shiva spiral shell thing. These are all gifts from my friend Lisa, who's also a reader, and I'm going to do a whole plug on her. I have no idea what this is, group 2, but it's a pretty little rock. Same thing with group 3. I keep holding it on the opposite side because usually my camera is the other way around. And a group 4. All right, I think we've been here long enough. Go ahead and pause the video if you actually still need to. We will see you in your individual readings. Bye-bye. Hello, group 1. So if you picked the little Shiva spiral, I'm going to do this the whole time. That's what I get for changing the routine up. You know what I mean? I always do that. Okay, these ones require a lot of reading on their bottoms. So we're going to go ahead and start with those. Can you trust this person or people? Okay, we have Protection 29. This is my house, stained by the very blood flowing through its walls, covered in the veil of delicious prayers, yet deadly to those who dare lift its hidden. All right, so some of you, right off the bat, I'm getting are very, very protective of your own space, of your own peace, and that it's not... I'm picturing that meme that people send me all the time because I'm the type that I won't keep people in my life if they disrupt my peace. And so somebody had a picture of, the guy from American Psycho, Christian Bale played him back in the 90s, I think. And it's like him all covered in blood holding an axe, you know. It's like me when people think I won't cut them out of my life. And he's like laughing maniacally because he's a crazy person. But anywho, that is what I feel from you. It's like I see you kind of holed up in your home. I feel like you're, like, this stuff has happened to you before. Like, you trusted somebody and then you were like, no, I shouldn't have. Okay. Graveyard, number 18. There is a song that bellows in the peace of knowing no end and acknowledging the crossroads of eternity. Interesting. 26 nature spirits on your toes, twirl and twirl until you're ready to take flight. They arrive in the winds beneath your wings and speak through the swaying of the trees. And then we also have the underworld, number 40. Hand over your known. A shift is near. Take a leap. Your journey is clear. Okay. So right off the bat, I get that you're protective of your own peace. And I'm trying to get a sense of anyone that you're trying to trust at this time or anyone that you are wondering about. I feel like there is some romance of wondering if somebody, it's very faint. There might only be like one person and they might want to pick a different pile just because I'm not feeling a ton of romance vibes. It's like I feel like because you protect yourself so much from this type of energy that when you find out that you can't trust somebody, you do feel like a sense of relief that you know that they weren't trustworthy, and so you're able to move on. You don't stick back and grieve the things that are lost. Nature. I feel like some of you are asking about somebody that you could have met in a graveyard, which is not totally unheard of, but it's rare. Or somebody that you met out in nature for some. Like maybe some of you met somebody while you were camping, or met somebody while you were outside doing some kind of outdoor activities, whatever people do outside. Let me know what outdoor activities you like to do in the comments section. I cannot go outside very much, so I like to hear about it. Okay. What else? Can you trust this person? See how she's sitting up in bed? I feel like for any of the, if this is romantic, platonic, professional, or personal, I feel like you are coming to grips with the fact that you don't trust this person. And now you're trying to figure out if you should trust this person. That's what it's feeling like to me. Your guides are kind of encouraging you to push through your comfort zone a little bit. That is hard to do when you have trust issues, which, let's just say it now. If you don't have trust issues, then this is probably not your group. But it's like they're talking about a shift coming. And so if you feel like you've kind of been attracting people who are less trustworthy, your guides are showing that you could maybe push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit and possibly trust this person, but possibly open yourself up to trust other persons if this one turns out to be one we cannot trust, okay? And remember, no matter what the readings tell you, if you don't trust somebody, like, always go with your gut first. Your own best oracle is something that I heard a reader say once, and that's a very, very wonderful advice. Okay, let's find out more about this person. Let's start with the Halloween card. Okay. The lamp, remembrance. Yeah, I feel like that protection that you feel, a lot of it is because of bad memories, right? Synergy and healing. Yeah, but your guides are kind of showing that it's time to maybe push yourself a little bit. Acceptance and equality. Okay, this is looking very promising. And forgiveness, reducing burden. Okay. So y'all's cards right here are very much leaning towards a yes, that you can trust this person. Okay. I feel nervous even saying that because, like, if you have trust issues, my friends, trust me when I say that mine are probably worse than yours. I mean, or at least as bad, because I don't even trust myself. But your guides are showing with the lamp, you know, that the bad situations are in the past, that you're now moving into synergy and healing, acceptance and equality, and then bam, forgiveness. So it looks like you're actually having somebody come into your world that is trustworthy in some way. Most likely in the ways that you're worried about. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really feel that romantic. I have to be honest. Still not feeling a lot of romance. If it is romantic, then they're definitely saying you can trust your person. This feels more like friendship, acquaintances that might turn into friendship, possibly a relationship of some kind that came about because of work or other activities. Like, you didn't meet each other on purpose, is what I'm feeling. So, like, it could be somebody that you were placed with in some way, and you don't know if you can trust them. Your guides are showing with these cards that you can trust them. Let's see what else we got. We have illusion. Fear. Okay. Growth. And rebirth, baby. It just doesn't get any better than this. This is why I love to live shuffle, because you feel like, oh my gosh, this has to be real, right? So they're showing you that the illusion that the fear is giving you is that you can't trust anyone, right? And you might be like me, you might not even be able to trust yourself. I get it. I'm working on it. Your guides want you to work on it too, of letting go of that fear and moving forward. One of the things I try not to do is hold new people accountable for the things that happened in the past, right? But at the same time, like, I learned valuable lessons from that. And so, your instincts are going to kick in and you're going to want to not so much, trust anyone or not so much put yourself out there. But I feel like they're showing growth coming from you actually trusting someone, and that it will lead to rebirth. Yes. This is so uncomfortable for me because I recently lost some trust the other day. So like I'm like, oh, I don't want to tell them to trust somebody when I don't trust them. I don't trust them, but you can. But based on what your guides are showing me, that this is a good thing. And I have gone through situations like that where I did feel myself start to trust somebody and like relax into it. And then even when the worst happened and they proved themselves not trustworthy, I will say, like, it wasn't like I was surprised, but I was disappointed that that's how it turned out, because I had actually started like trying to trust, right? So a lot of times you think all that stuff was for nothing, right? But there's learning in that. Like, if you actually let somebody in and you like started to trust them and then that one doesn't turn out, you still can look back on why you trusted them and try to, what's the word? Like, fit that into where you are now, right? Or fit that into new relationships, new chances, etc. We have the Wheel of Time. We have the King of Wands. The Nine of Wands, yeah. The King of Swords. Nope, Pentacles. I thought his leg bone was his sword, but I think they have short little knives or daggers in this deck. They're so cute. I believe these were all drawn with pencil originally. It's one of my favorite decks. And Ace of Coins. Okay. So your guides are showing with this energy here some more details of the situations that you've been through. I feel like some of you, part of the reason why you have that trust issue is that even if things started out really well in like several of your relationships, they kind of got to a dysfunctional place and kind of ended badly. And this is like beyond romance. It's like friendships, whatever. Family even, maybe, Excuse me. And it's like you want to trust and have like that embodiment of the King of Wands, right? And enjoy time as it is, or enjoy the now, those kinds of things. But there is that constant like worrying away at your brain of like, can I trust this person? Is it going to be okay? I think a lot of the challenge for people like you, King of Swords is overcoming challenges, right? Is that it's okay to welcome in new things and see how it goes. It doesn't mean that you're stupid if they turn out to not be trustworthy. How are we supposed to know? You know what I mean? Like, here I am. I'm a person who does readings for a living and like predict things that I couldn't possibly know, right? But at the same time, I still can't figure out who I'm supposed to trust and who I'm not supposed to trust, It always ends up being like a thing. And that makes it hard to put yourself out there if you've been through the same scenario over and over again. You're like, man, it always ends up this way. Why? Okay. Spirits, I need to see. Sparts, I need to see some detail situations. Like, who are these people that they want to trust but maybe aren't sure they can? We have the Hermit. The Eight of Swords, the Four of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and Temperance. Okay. Scooch these over. I feel like for some of you, the trust issues pop up when this person doesn't get back to you. They might be one of those pulling close and then disappear and not answer your calls for, however long they feel like it. And then you're over there like, are they mad at me? I also see how like the Four of Cups is like ignoring all of its cups, right? But you're also like holding out the Ace of Cups and they're still not seeing it. So I feel like this person is exhibiting habits or behaviors that felt a lot like, or feel a lot like those relationships that didn't work out. And this is across the board, platonic, professional, whichever, romantic, personal, no matter how you look at it, whichever ones you're reading on, okay? But it seems as though your guides were saying before to trust people. I feel like they're saying like trust until you don't, I feel like you might start to look for problems that aren't there yet because of the trust issues. Please don't take offense to anything I'm saying, y'all, because anything I say that you're doing, if you have trust issues, just trust that I have that times a million. I'm like a million times worse off when it comes to trusting. So, and like I'm older, so I don't even know if it's ever going to work out. Like, so I feel as though a lot of you have hidden off from the world, and that's part of what that message is, because of those situations that you've been in. But I feel like also you're looking at this for a specific person. This is starting to feel a little bit romantic, and they haven't called, they don't reach out, and it freaks you out. And your guides are trying to say that it's not like the others. It's not like it was before. The message here is one of profound hope and healing. We have healing cards again over here. So it's like you, and this is kind of a healing card in my opinion, as well as abundance and love. It's almost as if they're showing me that you possibly could be, meeting people like this for a reason, like meeting the ones you don't trust later for a reason, to try to figure out how to find your people. But at the same time, I also understand that you find people and it's working out really well, and then all of a sudden they do something. And that is very, very frustrating because you can't have any control over what other people choose to do. I think one thing that you could possibly do is not be the ever-ending cup of emotional support to your people. I don't care who they are. You need to make sure that some other people are filling your cup as well and helping you with your energy and your healing and all of that. Okay, let's see what else. Can they trust this person? See, Three of Wands shows plans working out well. The Emperor. And the Chariot. Yeah, they're showing like mostly like all the yes energy for this being somebody you can trust. I feel like they're saying the wait is over of waiting for someone you can trust. They're showing part of it is like you coming into your own and realizing you don't need other people to be okay. And I think you're kind of in the, if knowing you're totally okay on your own is way over here, and being totally dependent on others for your emotional well-being is over here. I think you're right around here of finding that you don't need anyone but yourself. Okay. I also feel though that the situation that you're in, that you're asking about this trust, is actually something that you can trust at this time. So the short answer to the question, can you trust them? The answer your guides are giving is a pretty solid yes. So with that, I will let you go. Please let me know how this helped you in the comments section. You can give me topic ideas there as well. If you would like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. We will see you in the next one, my friends. Take care. Bye. Hello, group 2. So if you picked this little rock, she told me this morning what they were, and I don't even remember. It's just It's how my brain works. I also showed a oracle deck in the intro that we're not using because I'm a dork. Okay, let's go ahead and see what your guides have to say about trusting this person. Mischief, number 25, keep your eyelids open and sight sharp as nails, for there is something trailing behind your tail. That doesn't sound very trusty, does it? Let's keep going and see what happens. The Bat card, number 6, invoke thy power and fear not the hidden. What lurks is coming with undenying change. I feel like if you can't trust this person, and we're still early on here, but that you will figure out very soon why with that Bat card. Oh, you guys got 5 cards here, not just 4. We have Rooted, number 34. May you never tear the living ritual that is magic merged within the roots of your being, the soil of your soul. Yeah. What else? Pumpkin, number 30. Encaging the spirit within thou, the fertile power you hold. To taste your buttery velvet upon tongue is a gift I shall cherish each day that comes. The wording on these cards is so strange to me. Doesn't go the way I feel like it will normally go. And the Owl, 27. Behold sight, O ancient ones, for there is magic in the darkest of places if one dares to open their eyes. Okay. So right off the bat with these first cards that we pulled, I'm leaning towards a no on the can you trust this person. I feel like whether it's romantic, platonic, personal, or professional, I feel like they hide behind mischief. Like they'll say something incredibly insulting and then be like, just kidding, it was me. And you're like, that's not how joking works. We're both supposed to laugh, and so that feels like, and like, look at all these different little hers climbing all over this house. Up to no good, right? I feel like they might wear a lot of different masks and they might say a lot of different things. And I feel like they might have a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, if you know what I mean. So that is something to consider. And your guides are showing with the Bat card that they can't hide that for much longer. You're already starting to wisen up. And that's why you're probably watching this reading. Now that we just said all that, I feel my chest getting tight. So this might be causing some of you some anxiety of like, oh my gosh, they're not trustworthy. Oh no, right? Okay. Remember, as we give like more characteristics of who this person is, that could always indicate that you're in the wrong pile. If you're like, we've been together 25 years. They never joke around with me like that. Well, there you go. But I'm feeling like anxiety, like you're like, oh no, I can't trust them. Like maybe you told them things that you wouldn't have told them if you had known that they weren't trustworthy. But they're also indicating that you need to ground and root yourself down, especially when you start to get into that frenzied hamster wheel thinking of like, oh, this always happens to me, or oh, this is like the worst thing ever, or I really thought that they were somebody they weren't, etc. and so forth. Rooting yourself down will help you not want to climb a wall, if you know what I mean. Calling your energy back will help you as well, because that's a good technique to get your stuff back. So if you ever want to learn how to pull your energy back the way I do it, call me. Pumpkin. I feel like these 2 cards represent you waking up and wisening up to this situation. So does the Bat card. The Rooting card is just what you do to kind of like control how upset you get or how in your head you get. Okay. This is showing that this is like what your guides want you to embody. Like, you are lucky that I even looked in your direction. And I don't care if this is romantic or not. They were lucky for you to even acknowledge them. They had a big stroke of luck when that happened. They had even more luck when you actually let them into your circle, okay? When you actually let them into your mind, when you actually allowed yourself to be vulnerable in front of them, etc. and so forth. Those were gifts from you, okay? And I feel like it got betrayed, right? And that the embodiment that you need, as opposed to, oh, this happened to me again. Why does this always happen? Oh, I can't believe I trusted. Why didn't I see the signs, etc. and so forth. Your guides want you to actually just, be smug about it and be like, sorry, you didn't want to hang out with the coolest person ever because that's what you're losing out on. Okay. So I want you to try to embody that energy. They're also showing that even in the darkest situation, there's still magic. So even if this turns out that it's somebody you cannot trust, which seems to be the case with this particular spread, your guides are saying that you figuring that out enough to reach out and usually when you, at least anytime I try to find a video that, speaks to me on some profound level about my certain situation, I can tell when it's like on the right track and when it's not, like when I'm aligned with it and when I'm not. So this is like a way for you to not practice, but kind of practice your discernment. I feel like the main practice is to accept the fact that you're a catch as a friend, as a partner, as a professional, as a family member. And so it's their loss if they break your trust. That's the main thing that your guides are trying to hammer home, is that you deserve more than what this person has been offering you. I feel like there's been lots of red flags, and especially after reading up on it, you're going to start noticing those more and more. What else? Let's look at some more oracle. Ooh. Risk. Man, you got more of these too. Play. Just scooch these over. You greedy goblins, you got too many cards. Ooh, alliance. Cool. Caching. Release. And trap. Okay. Interesting. Let's just stick this right here because I can't quite get it to fit. All right. Yoinksies. There we go. All right, so my group twos. The Crow Oracle is showing you I feel like when you trust people, it feels like a risk. When you actually let somebody in, it feels risky to you. Okay. Your guides are acknowledging that fact. They're also showing that if you're like, oh, maybe I can trust them. Maybe they've changed. Maybe I was in the wrong group. Maybe I am looking at this the wrong way, etc. and so forth. They are saying that that is risky thinking. I'm hearing they already had a second chance, maybe more than a second chance. If that's true for your individual situation, take heed of that. All right. And your guides are promising with, how they're kind of mischief and playful themselves. They're kind of asking you to beat them at their own game as far as just living your best life. That could include not letting them see that you're grieving losing them if you decide to break loose from this person, or they break loose from you because you're on to them now, right? They're promising other alliances to come and help you through that. that you do have people in your life who you can trust. You just might not be seeing them as clearly at the moment. And they're saying to start focusing on, who do I trust in my life, like unconditionally, that I really, even in my very untrusting brain, who made it through, and start collecting those, planting those seeds to try to grow those energies as opposed to looking outside. As far as this person goes, your guides are saying to release them. I don't even feel like it would be worth, calling them, be like, I know you're not trustworthy and now I'm gone. Like, I feel like they're just going to gaslight you, make you feel worse. Maybe lie and say they're going to change. I feel like what they would probably do immediately is totally gaslight you and make you feel like this is all your fault and how dare you. Make them feel like you don't trust them. That's so mean, those kinds of things. And then once you disappear from their life, that's when the slander begins, okay? The slander being like, oh, I can't believe they did that to me. I don't know why. It was so out of the blue, blah, 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 blah. Your guides are saying to release trying to, like, even thinking about it. I feel like what they're going to do, okay? This does feel like a breakup, but it also could just be friendship or somebody that you were like working on a project with. But some kind of close personal time took place between you where you felt comfortable enough to be vulnerable, right? And so that, and like, I'm not gonna lie, there does seem to be a lot of icky, gross romance stuff in this. That needs to be released. Like, you need to release that person, is what they're saying. Like, very, very clearly saying over and over again that trusting them is not the best plan. That if you let them back in, it's a twap. What movie is that from? My goodness, people. Give me some comments about what movies I quote. Y'all need to start watching some movies, because you guys... Okay, let's see what else we got. What the shish kebab? What did we just get? Mischief. They could try to trick you back into their circle. They could cause mischief in your life in some other way. I feel like that could be the slander element that we discussed. Did you hear that cute little chime? If you did, it's time for me to go upload a video. So one moment. Okay. So yeah, I feel like slander is going to be the main thing, but they might try to trick you in other ways, like trick you back in to their good graces. I don't feel like you're going to fall for that. I feel like at this point I'm like picturing like some of you already deleting these people out of your phone. You're like, well, can't trust you later, loser. You're just out. I like that spicy style. All right, you actually got the regular amount of cards here. Okay, death. Yeah, something's coming to an end. Most likely this relationship. Hidden talents. I feel like you are going to discover some hidden talents as you move forward from this, and gaining emotional intelligence with the vampire. Okay. I like that energy. So your guides are saying definitely that you can't trust this person. They're showing that if you do trust them, they're going to try to trap you. That they're going to try to gaslight you and then possibly slander you if you don't fall for it. So your guides are showing that while that might not be anything new to you, people doing that, and I could just be projecting onto you because they do it to me too. It sucks. That it's bringing about a change in you. I think you're changing the way that you let people approach you. You're changing how the beginning of the relationship is going to go. And even if you haven't gotten there yet, you've already made plans of like how you're not going to let that... Hang on. That was a long call. What were we doing? What was we talking about? I don't even remember where I am or what was we talking about. Okay, let's see. What movie is that from? Come on, guys. Hidden talents. You're changing. I don't feel like you're a game player. That's for sure. But I feel like people suck you into the little games that they like to play. And they put you on their playing board, even though you didn't agree to any of that. That definitely is something that's coming through. And I feel like okay, let me say this. You might be sitting there beating yourself up about like, why didn't I notice? Why didn't I pay attention to the red flags, etc. and so forth. You did though. You did. Or you wouldn't have looked up this reading, right? You questioned whether or not they were trustworthy, right? It sucks that they're kind of not, right? But at the same time, it feels like you're not giving yourself enough credit for the growth that you've taken on by actually even just, watching a video like this to find out, to like, you may have talked to other people and saw what their take was on it, instead of just holding up with it and wondering, oh, what's going to happen, right? Let's get some tarot for you. The Ace of Swords. The truth shall overcome. You knowing the truth should ever... Yeah, see, Seven of Swords. That has a couple of parts to it, so I'll get back to that one. Let's look at these. The Fool. Five of Cups. Nine of Cups. On the Magician. Okay. I feel like since you got so many oracle cards, we won't need as many tarot cards to get this done. Yoinks. Alrighty, let's talk about these. So now that you know the truth, right? Part of this card's meaning is you know the truth about who they are now. That they're a Seven of Swords cat. Seven of Swords cat, in the sense that I'm reading it for that person, is maybe they were unfaithful. Maybe they went behind your back in other ways. Maybe they were hanging on to something too tightly and holding you to that same standard. But ultimately, the way that they're doing things isn't going to work for them either. Clearly, the Seven of Swords shows a person trying to cradle all these swords, and they're looking back at some more like, maybe I should grab those. And you're like, man, you kind of look like you're going to cut yourself already. So maybe you don't need those 2 extra swords. But they're like, still want to trust swords, eh? I kind of want those swords. So that's part of it, is you just realizing that they're a cheater head in some way, that they're not trustworthy, that they lie, etc. and so forth. The other part is, now that you know the truth, your guides are saying you can let go of what you were holding on to so tightly with that person. I feel like you put a lot of hope into them, whether they were romantic or platonic. And it took you a long time to really decide, like, oof, I don't think I trust this person, right? And so they're showing you being free by realizing that. Even though it comes with some pain and disappointment, it's a freeing situation, okay? Yes, it was a mess in some cases, but not all is lost. You still have your coffee pot, and you still have your 2 cups up there, which is enough for 2 of cups. That's something I always try to remind people when they break up, that there is always somebody else that can step in and fill that destiny for you. It just is a matter of you being picky enough to let that energy come forward and not... It's so hard because I feel like a lot of you probably give people chances because you're not perfect, and so you expect no one else to be perfect, and you try to love and like them regardless of what their faults might be, which is beautiful. It's what you would like people to do for you, right? But at the same time, if they're not going to give you what you want and you're ending up feeling like these, that's not good, right? By you acknowledging the fact that there was a problem and now you know there is one and you're moving forward from there, I am hearing this thing that I tell myself whenever somebody messes me over and I cut them out of my life, like that guy in that meme with a bloody axe. I tell myself that it's not worth grieving for someone that never existed in the first place. Now, people change, things change, gas prices change, hairstyles change, whatever. But at the same time, you're like, you're becoming like aware of the fact that there is a problem, instead of just wondering if maybe you should give them a second chance, if maybe it's just a character flaw like everyone has and you just need to love them anyway, you know, that kind of feeling. Your guides are saying by getting out of that pattern and like realizing that, you know, it's okay to not trust people. That's another thing. It's like, I feel like a guilt around the not trusting those people. And it's probably because they guilt tripped you when you expressed that you didn't trust them, right? They're showing that you stepping into your own and holding people accountable for what you expect from friendship or partnership, that's going to bring you to the Nine of Cups energy, which is wish fulfillment. Okay. And they're showing you are the one that has the power with the Magician card to bring about that wish fulfillment. It has nothing to do with anyone who has come into your circle and then broke the trust once they were in there, right? It is all about you. You're the star of the show. People will come and go. Characters will come in. You'll get new castmates, etc. and so forth. But you're the star. And so you don't need that person in your life to be complete. You don't need any people in your life to be complete. My beautiful group twos. That is all I have for you. Let me know if this was helpful in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. I apologize for missing one of the Oracle decks. I will get to that one next time. Take care. Hello, group 3. So if you picked this little red rock, it's super pretty. Let's look and see if you can trust your person. I'm going to start with these. I'm going to apologize that when I was doing my live shuffling, I got distracted and forgot to put in the extra Oracle deck that I said I was going to put in there, but that's okay. We will make do with what we have. Let's go ahead and see what... Okay, you got a reversal. We're going to honor it because this deck does have reversal meanings, but let's see it from the upright first. 5 Banshee. Flow. No. Heed my warning, dear child, for what I hold is far from unsung lullabies. Swallow a nail, and you can expect bleeding from within. Good Lord. But it's reversed. That's probably more positive. Let's see what else we have. Potions and spells. 28. A pinch of this, a dash of that. Be sure you're sure before you call. Okay. Interesting. Voices 42 with a tug of the gut. Feel them. Romance your very breath. Listen to the gentle flickering within your eyes, for this is where they guide. And then we also have elements number 16. Remember to feel the warmth of pulsing through her womb. The warmth pulsing through her womb. Through her womb. You are a child of mother. True harmony awaits you. Okay, so let's talk about these. I'm going to grab the booklet so that we can read about the Banshee reversed and get a better feeling for what the reversals of these cards are like, because I don't know. I barely use them. Let's see here. Okay, so there's Banshee. In the upright position are Bad Omens and Wrath. Reversed. Banshee brings the message of wrath when seen in reverse. What? Why would that be? I might reject this, but let's read what they have to say anyway. The powers have brought you to this card as a warning. Wrath is a dangerous energy for those who have it. You may think your anger is hurting whoever it is directed. Oh, okay. Now I get it. All right. This is interesting because I feel like you're here already knowing that you couldn't trust the person. I feel like some of you, maybe all of you, are watching this just to see a confirmation that you are correct, that you were not supposed to trust that person, okay? And I feel like this is very specific. Hopefully some other energies come in. But specifically, some of you were burned by this trust being broken, and you're actually wanting revenge. And if the universe won't give it to you in a natural form, you're like, maybe I'll potion and spell it into being. Yeah. So the wrath element of this feels more like you wanting to take back what was taken from you, and you know you can't, so you're like, then I'll just give you the same amount of pain that you've given me. That's what it feels like. And that you're willing to go about like maybe even hexing them or cursing them, hoping somebody else will, just hoping that the natural course of poetic justice will take form. Poetic justice, not karma. Karma is just cause and effect. If you touch a hot stove, you're going to get burned. Right? But poetic justice is what most people want when they're like, I want them to have their karma. They're just misusing the word because the entire flippin' population misuses that word. Y'all want poetic justice, which is also tied into revenge. I cannot judge a person for feeling this way because I automatically want that too. I'm like, enough of what you've done to me. I want that to come back on you. I want you to feel what I feel. Okay, I feel that in this. Your guides are showing you their voices at this time to try to help steer you towards maybe a little bit of a different approach. Okay, so let me get this little thing out of the way. When people learn how to practice magic or divination or whatever, right? There's like a responsibility that comes with that. And because people just automatically assumed that, oh, well, they have powers, they might actually use them to hurt you. Let's go kill them all. That whole thing, you know, kind of follows everyone around that practices magic, right? So somewhere along the lines, I think it was in Wicca. Okay, I'm not a Wiccan. Wicca is kind of like practicing magic, but there's a lot more community involvement with other fellows, and so it becomes more like a religion, where there's like rules that people in the religion have to follow. One of those rules is whatever you put out there comes back on you times 3. Okay, and that is also that's very karmic, right? That you put pretty out, you get pretty back, etc. and so forth. I am going to be historically accurate, however, and say that the craft or spell casting or whatever, wherever that started, and it's going to be different in each culture, that rule was not in place until the Wiccans started using it, like in the 70s, maybe the 60s. And so some people don't hold themselves to that law of 3. Some people just hold themselves to the idea of, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, right? Like, thy will be done. And that's like where you let it leave. You know, you're just like, that's it. That's my will. That's it. Okay. I don't see a problem with that. I don't also see a problem with the rule of 3 being considered. The revenge aspect, however, does have a little bit of a problem with it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, but that whole, it's best to serve the dish of revenge cold, right? You might want to calm yourself down out of that wrathy place to be able to do this in a proportionate way. I feel like deep down you probably don't really actually want to hurt somebody. Maybe you do. But you haven't gone out and, physically harmed someone yourself. So generally, if you have that tendency, you're less likely to do something like this to harm someone. But I do feel like you're like, I don't want to harm them. I just want them to understand what they did, right? Let them understand what they did to me. That's a poetic justice thing. And we would all love to have it. It's just not something we get very often. So your guides are showing you different ways to try to move forward. to remember who you are. You are a worker of light, okay? And that this feels more like worker of darkness, right? But you know, if you end up doing a spell on that person and it works, you'll let me know in the comments. But your guides are saying probably don't do that. And, you know, I would ask you not to as well, because if you do put energy out there to try to harm, even if it's harm that they deserve, it can reflect poorly on other people who practice. And so, you know, and they might just start burning us all alive again. So please, keep it silent and secret, right? Okay, let's look at your other cards. Crow cards. Soar. This feels like a green light almost. Alley. Interesting. Anomaly. And freedom. So yeah, if you're in this group and you're like, man, I just wanted to know if I can trust my person or not. Groups 1 or 2 definitely had like yes and no's of like, could you trust them? Could you not trust them? This feels like everybody already knows they can't trust them and now you just want revenge. I'm trying to see it differently, but that's all I'm seeing. So go ahead and take that as confirmation that you're in the wrong pile if you're like, but I just want to know if I can trust them. I don't know yet. This is like, they already know they don't trust him. I feel like they were like kind of getting this reading as confirmation of why, or confirmation that they were right, that they couldn't trust them. I feel like with the alley card, that also feels like kind of like that dark energy of getting them good, making sure they get theirs, making sure that poetic justice gets served up to them with salty fries, something along those lines. And you might be like, doing that sort of thing might feel powerful to you. It might help you feel better. However, your guides are saying that it is better to be like the exception to the rule and go a different route with this anomaly card, and that's where you'll find your freedom. It will also be how you keep your karma clean and avoid your own type of poetic justice that might come down the pike. Yes. What else? Yeah, I'm just not getting anything else for that. That's so crazy. All right, let's look at your Halloween oracle. Winter, the sacredness of pausing. Yes, your guides are definitely saying maybe don't do it just yet, okay? Midnight, the most magical hour of all. That also feels like somebody doing some magic to get back at somebody. It's like, I feel like some of you there's no convincing you. You're just going to try it. There's no rules. Dawn, the light after the darkness. Okay, so you are moving towards like a recovery from this. I feel like a lot of you most of you even, are not pining for this person. You're like, you're not trustworthy, get the F away from me, right? But the energy with the midnight and stuff, there's still those dark thoughts of like, but I could ruin your life if I wanted to, right? I feel like some of you could like ruin their lives if you just like told something. But I also hear mutually assured destruction, which means they might have things on you. So, including knowing that you might be the one that hexed them or cursed them or something. So your guides are still saying, steer them clear of that. I'm doing my best. They are showing that if you would just pause and wait, you might realize that that dark energy is not necessary. You might have an epiphany at the stroke of midnight one of these nights that makes you feel like, the light after the darkness is coming in, and you start to feel more free, okay? So pause the revenge plot at least. Your guides are definitely saying that, and I think you'll figure out the rest as you go. And then we have the hearth, happiness in our hearts and homes. So I feel like if you sort of resist that urge to get the revenge, that you will recover from this quicker. I don't really see anything bad happening to you if you throw out some magic that way. But it might be something. There might be something to it. It's hard for me to say if the law of three is true or not, because I don't ever put bad magic out towards people. I do take it back if they mess me over. Like, hey, that cool little, whatever card I gave you, or that cool little talisman I dropped off for you, or whatever. Those are all powerless now because I'm not a part of them, right? I'm back here like shuffling and not letting you watch. Okay, we have the Lovers, Judgment, Six of Cups, the Star. Sorry for the chiming if you can hear it. I have my earbuds in, but oof, it's a loud chime. What else? I see you. I see Tower. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about this too. So this is kind of a bit of a future thing that your guides are showing for some of you. Like I said, for the most part, this pile felt like you already had your trust betrayed and you were just like looking for confirmation that you were right. You were. And then you got kind of fixated on this like idea of, if it is true, if they really were messing me over and I really can't trust them, then maybe I won't even tell them I know. Maybe I'll just pretend like we're still friends, right? And then get them later. Okay. Another thing I'm seeing here in this area is right now I feel like you're super angry. I do not blame you. I get super angry when people betray my trust as well. But they are showing that you did have a lot of connection to this person. It does feel rather romantic in some cases. Gross. So anyway, what was I saying? Romantic, gross. That was a longer call as well. You guys are good luck getting long client calls while I'm reading for you guys. All the juicies are flowing. I feel like there's so much stuff flying around in this reading. I feel like some of you want them to ask you for a second chance. I feel like some of you are kind of like, oh, I hope they don't ask me for a second chance, but they probably will. And then some of you have no idea that they're going to ask you for a second chance. Your guides warn not to let past good memories steal your idea of it needing to be over. Okay. And I feel like a lot of you are like, oh, it's totally over. I'm never going back. Okay. Well, you're saying that now because you're super angry, but later on, it might not feel as angry. They might actually behave in a way that kind of almost shows you that they're being different or that they're trying. But those are all not to be trusted. Those will lead to the Tower moment. Okay. So don't give them second chances. I feel like a lot of you were like, some of you were hoping for some kind of a reconciliation, but it would mean that they would need to change. And that is something I do not see happening in this group. So, you're the star of your own show. The star of the show doesn't take back a dirty, dirty cheater head or whatever it is they did to you. Right? I mean, sometimes they take the cheater head back, but it's like a Hallmark movie, and he's like, I told my mistress I don't love her, and I love you. And she's like, oh, I won't ever even think about you guys being together now. Not usually the reality of our lives. So there's that. I do see healing for you. I feel like if you avoid probably the revenge stuff too, at least until you're not angry anymore, and definitely avoid anybody trying to come back and make up with you, that you're going to heal from this, okay? If you try to entertain those other notions, you might end up with a Tower moment. This could go for revenge as well. Alrighty. So yeah, definitely a no on being able to trust the person. You definitely can't trust them again. So that's where I'm going to leave it with you guys. So let me know if this was helpful in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well, and we will see you in the next one. Oh, if you want to book a private reading, you can get a hold of me. There's ways to do so in the description box, and we will see you in the next one. Okay. Bye, 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 bye. Hi, group 4. So if you picked the weird little... It's so pretty. And I know she told me what these are. My friend Lisa sent those to me. I'm going to do a whole little thing on her and her jewelry that she makes once we get out of this Halloween season stuff. Okay. Can you trust your person is the question. Let's find out how things are going with that. Ancestors, number 3. They hiss a quivering so deep only roots of your soul, of your soil, can lift the nakedness hidden within the vows made in silence. An ancient chill walking upon your spine. Oh. So your ancestors are in here for a little visit ski. And they are definitely wanting to tell you something about this person. Do they say you can trust, or do they say you cannot? Dark moon. By the dark of your heart lives new breath, waiting for you to release the ghost. Okay. What else? We got a reversal. This is how it is upright. Intuition 23. You hold the answers. You know the truths. Ancient ones await behind the doors of the mind. Okay. I feel like that's also another message that your ancestors and spirit guides are very near at this time. You might even be feeling a little tingly, or whatever it is your guides do to you or make you feel. I'm going to get the book for this reversal and see what it says. I did that last time, and it was a good thing I did. Okay, 23. 22. Here it is. Okay, reversed. When intuition is in reverse, you may be spending too much time in the clouds. Deepening your intuition is an important step, but don't spend every moment visualizing without taking any action. Spending too much time working on your intuition without grounding can leave you feeling disconnected from your day-to-day life. This message is even more profound if you have also pulled the rooted card or feel called to read it. Okay. I think pile 1 got the rooting card. So you might want to check out pile 1. I think I've been doing a video almost every day, and they're all starting to blend together because I keep using all the same cards. So I feel like your ancestors are trying to tell you something that your intuition may have already been telling you, or telling you something that you can't feel from your intuition, which is obviously wrapped up in this trust dilemma. We have Haunted 21. The breaking of the floor beneath your naked feet. Why are these cards always saying naked? The creaking of the walls as the cold kisses flesh. You're never really alone when in the company of hauntings within bone. Okay. I think that's your ancestors telling you you're not alone. Okay. I'm leaning towards maybe you can't trust this person, but I'm also leaning towards, for some of you, that it could be that you feel like you can't trust this person and you actually can. So let's see if we can unpack more to figure out exactly what your guides are trying to say to you. It also could play into something about your person's family. Like maybe you can trust the person but not their family. Let's keep going. Routine. Resistance. I'm definitely feeling the resistance from somebody. I can't tell if it's you or somebody else. Influence. He's just like straight up going to eat that cigarette or smoke it. He's not sure. and nature. Okay. I'm going to grab my pendulum and just ask a quick yes or no. Spirit, can you hear me? Circles or yeses, side to sides or no. Can this person trust the person they are inquiring about? Is there anybody in this pile who can trust the person they are inquiring about? That's a pretty slight no. Is there something else we're not considering? Okay, for the most part, they seem to feel like you can't trust this person. I don't feel like it's because they're a conniving person, though. That's the part that's weird. It's like there's a lot of mirroring between you and this person. It could be romantic, but doesn't have to be. Gross, guys. But you've influenced each other, and you feel that influence on you even still. So I feel like you're like, man, this is influencing me so hard. Maybe I should make sure it's even right, or that I should. Okay. I also feel like it's like you've gotten lost in routine with this person. So I feel like maybe, okay, this is coming clear in for some of you. Oh, of course. Let's hope I remember when I get back. I'm back, and I remembered what I was going to say. I feel like for some of you, this is a long-term relationship of some kind. Platonic or romantic. Feels more romantic than platonic in most cases. I feel like you have settled into a routine with this person, and the routine is like sort of separate from the two of you. Like you might work two different demanding jobs or have two different weird commutes that take longer or whatever. But it's almost like you've kind of lost sight of that person. And even though everything feels okay, it's kind of like this like snap to of like, oh, I haven't been paying attention. What if they're, off with somebody else? What if they're not happy? What if they, are doing not trustworthy things? And so that popped in there for some of you, and that's why you're here. What else? Some of you, it's like a partner or a friend that like you mirror each other a lot, and you influence each other a lot even when you don't realize it. And there's been resistance on that person's part towards that union. For some of you, you are the one that's resisting, and I feel like it's because the influence is not healthy. Clearly, the crows in this are not influencing each other to make good choices. This one's drinking a bunch of spilled wine, and that one's smoking a cigarette or going to eat it. I'm not sure. I don't think crows can smoke, but he's definitely going to hurt his little mouth if he tries to eat that thing. So it's like the influence over each other. One of you is resisting that because it feels unhealthy. Okay, so for some of you, the other person's resisting because it doesn't feel healthy to them. For some of you, you feel like resisting it because it doesn't feel healthy to you. Nature. And I feel like with these, I know this is the urban crow, but I feel like for a lot of people in this group that you don't get out in nature very much for whatever reason. I, for one, live in nature very, surrounded by it constantly, but I don't go out into it because I can't. So like it could be a situation like that. Because it is good for us to get out into nature if you can safely do so, right? I also feel like the resistance that some of you are feeling is to get away from that influence, right? And to maybe separate yourself from like the rat pack for a while and do your own thing is kind of the advice that your ancestors and guides are giving you at this time. As far as like, can you trust this person? The long-term relationship people, maybe. Like you've lost sight of them and that's what made you suspicious is like, oh, what have they been up to, right? They might have just been consumed with their everyday activities like you've been and just lost touch with you. So I feel like that one, we still are kind of on the fence. The other two, it's not like they're a conniving person or a bad person that's like going to trick you or do anything bad to you, but they're kind of a bad influence on you. You're kind of a bad influence on them. You might be a bad influence on each other. You might have met under like trauma bonding type situations, which feel really good at the time because you're like, oh, yes, you understand, right? But then, you share the same types of trauma stories. Well, you're going to share the same kinds of trauma, which might lead to the same types of dysfunctions, right? So there's that. Trauma bonding is kind of one of those things that's only good in the beginning. After a while, one person usually starts holding the other one responsible too much for their emotional well-being, while the other one starts feeling like used and not feeling like they have a solid support on their end, right? So that's what I'm feeling there. So it's not like you can't trust them like they're a big fat liar or anything. It's just that it's a bad influence over you, okay? But that's different from the long-term couple people. So let's get some more information here. You got 4 of these. Change. The witch with earthly weaver of the worlds. Interesting. The underworld where all things pause and begin again. And the apple, risk and reward. Okay. For the people in the long-term relationship that have kind of lost sight of each other, I feel like you can trust them. I don't feel like anything's going on or that you let anything slip through the cracks. I don't feel like there's like an affair. I don't feel like they're lying to you. I think you just lost sight of that and you both need to change to make sure that you're more of a priority for one another. So when you bring that up, don't be like, you never pay attention to me and blah, blah, blah. Because like, remember, if you lost sight of them in some way, then you weren't paying attention either. So maybe sit down and say something along the lines of, I feel like we haven't talked in a really long time. And I feel like it's because we're both so busy, but it's starting to feel like it's going to hurt us. So can we talk about maybe figuring out a way around this? How have you been feeling? You can always start with that. Like, how are you? Like, I feel like I haven't really been catering to you much, right? What's been going on with you? And that will usually help open that up again, okay? Because I do feel like that particular situation, that whatever you were worried about with trusting them, it isn't them actually being secretive and hiding anything. You just haven't been paying attention to them, and vice versa. They haven't been paying as much attention to you. You could be really busy with your jobs or your kids or just the separate lives that you lead, right? And so that just needs to have a little bit of change with communication, and that you have the ability to manifest that, and so do they. And like just taking that time to pause so that things can begin again, taking that time to spend with each other. Might feel a little bit risky putting yourself out there like that. It might feel strange because you were fine, they were fine, but then you started worrying about stuff. They're showing there's no reward without risk. So you might just want to push through that. Just push through that distrust and not sure what's going on towards that person. For those of you in the other camp, the ones that are influenced by each other, there's something risky about it that feels good when you're with that person. It could be like maybe you drink a little too much when you're together. Maybe like they're a smoker, so they keep smoking and you bum one when you're with them, etc. and so forth. I feel like there might be one person here that's a third party situation with this person. Like maybe you're friends, but there's like attraction and there's risk in like entertaining that. Okay. But you are in control of your world. And so your guides are telling you to pause and think things through, right? Especially if you're like contemplating an affair. Think things through. One of my favorite things to do with those is I tell people to ask themselves, what is the worst thing that could happen if you had an affair? Let's start at the bad and work our way up to the good, because a lot of times they get hazed over with this like idea of like, oh, it's new and exciting and something cool is going to happen. It's like, yeah, you're going to end up hurting somebody and ending a relationship, and possibly kids could be involved. So don't do that. That kind of deal. For others, it's like a romance that is just your personalities are like too much alike in the shadow attributes of your personalities, and that is kind of a risk as well. Okay, so your guides aren't totally telling you to ghost that person, but to be aware of like how you influence each other and try to focus on things that you influence each other in positive ways as opposed to negative ways. Okay, if you feel like they're negative towards you, you definitely need to be doing that. If you feel like you're negative towards them, like in the influence, then it's time to look at your own behaviors and be like, what am I doing exactly that feels not quite functional? That feels like it might be a little dysfunctional. Is that it? I think that's it. Let's get you some tarot. So this popped off the top of the deck and flipped over. So I am seeing the Knight of Wands in reverse. This can show the need to slow down and pay attention to the surroundings and make sure that you aren't rushing headfirst into something like divorce, cheating, accusing someone, right? All of those things. You need to establish what you understand is the reality of the situation first and move forward from there, okay? Let's see what else we can see. Second chances. I feel like in this particular case with the long-term couples that you're going to get a second chance. You're going to realize that you're really not as separate as you thought you might have been, that there wasn't anything going on, etc. and so forth. And you might actually go through like a second honeymoon period with this person. For those of you that are just influencing each other in ways that are a little more negative, your guides are showing that if you keep track of what you're doing, keep track and you're just more mindful of like how you influence each other, how you influence them, how they influence you, and look for any of that negativity, that can give you a second chance towards it being a healthy relationship after that. Four of Swords. As this thing shifts and moves forward, for those of you influencing each other, it could be a good idea to not be around that person for a while just to get your bearings and get all that, seeing things clearly straight. For those of you in the long-term relationship, nothing's going to change if you don't talk about it. I feel like your partner has just accepted that that's how life is now and is just moving forward, right? They're not cheating or anything, but they're just kind of moving forward with their life. So bringing up the discussion, they might not even realize that you want it to be different or that you've noticed anything different. They might not have noticed anything is different yet. And so bringing it up to them in a very non-combative, non-accusatory way is the best way to go. Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, remember how they're saying just don't rush into it? Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck, but he's the one that actually usually finishes with the least amount of battle wounds. You know what I'm saying? Because he actually like assesses things before he just goes diving in there like Knight of Swords and Knight of Wands do. And he's not as emotional as Knight of Cups. Okay, so he's less likely to offer something that he can't deliver, or less likely to go diving into a situation that he hasn't thought through all the way. So your guides are saying to take this like that. If it's the long-term couple situation, set them down and just see what they're up to. You might not even have to go to the talk of like, I feel like we're losing touch of each other and blah, 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 blah. It feels like more like if you just show them some... if you can just get some thoughts back in your head because you lost your train of thought. Like, take time to see the lay of the land and figure out exactly what is happening in this situation. How do you feel about everything? How do you feel you're being influenced? How do you feel they're being influenced by you? You need to take some time apart if you're influencing each other, so you stop influencing long enough to figure out what is going on for sure. Let's see what else we've got. The Moon. Some of you have fear of what you cannot see. I feel like some of you are really worried that you weren't paying attention to that long-term relationship, and man, they could have been out starting a whole nother family, and you're like, derp-a-der, I don't know. That's not what's going on. Your guides are showing with the moon that your intuition is probably telling you that it's okay, and you're just scared to trust that even. So go ahead and lean into that trust. For those of you that are influencing each other, I feel like that spending time apart kind of freaked you out, like you're worried they're going to go away or they won't like it, right? Or that something darker is happening that you haven't even considered yet. Please don't worry about that. This looks like it could turn into something healthy. It's just some trauma bonding that went on. And they might distance themselves a little bit to try to figure out why they were doing that. And your guides are saying that you should do the same, okay? And yeah, that it'll bring more understanding between you in the long run. It's like, this definitely doesn't feel like, get away from them, you can't trust them. It's just like kind of some negative influence over each other. So this is kind of like an in the middle. It could end up being something that is something you can't trust, but right now it's just where it's at, you know? And so I will leave you with that. Okay. Let me know how this was helpful to you in the comment section. If it was, give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. We'll see you in the next one, my friends. Take care. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye.